Hello, this is Karia again, and I have not one but two cats. I don't know if you can see, but Bella's behind Stewie. Oh, Stewie just moved. Oh, there goes Bella in the box. But anyway, this is Karia, and I have a really interesting video today for you on pastels, which kinds to use and which kinds to proceed with caution, shall we say, because technically you're not supposed to use them, but I just did, and I'll show you the picture that I'm working on. But anyway, let's talk about pastels are a medium that is made of pigment and a binder. Oil pastels are made with a wax binder and a non-drying oil. A wax and a non-drying oil binder together, plus the pigment. And soft pastels are made with a, as the name says, softer, more powdery binder. And they're different, and they're really used in different ways. And one is used a lot. The soft pastels are used a lot by colorists, and the oil pastel is not really used by colorists. And I'll show you why they're not really used by colorists. But I'm talking to you about them because I love them. I just got these like a week and a half ago, or maybe like last week, and I totally fell in love with them. And I totally hope that one day somebody will release a coloring book that you can work on with oil pastels, or something that you can work on oil pastels with, because they are fucking amazing. These are fucking amazing. Anyway, but let me get started and talk to you about pastels. So pastels are, soft pastels especially, are they range in price. These were like $4 for like $3 or $4 for a pack of 12, all the way up to you know, something like this, which was super expensive, where I think each stick is like $3 or $4. So let me put out two colors on this paper and show you what this is. So this is a big stick, right? So you have your big stick, and you can use any part of this. So there's a number of different brands that make these. I haven't reviewed any of these yet. Actually, let me get a little closer so I can show you. Hold on, I'm gonna pause it and then come back. So I've moved the tripod considerably closer, and I want to show you these. You can use, this whole thing is just a stick of pigment and binder, so you can use anything. And as you can see, they feel very chalky and very powdery, and do in fact make a huge mess. But these are really easy to blend, and different brands will react differently. But you can use these to very quickly make a background. Okay, so that's just using the corner, right? So I'm just using the corner. But if I felt like it, I can just use the whole thing like this and just very quickly make a huge, fast background. And this is what people use when they talk about having used pastels for background. And then you can use your finger, and you can, you know, depending on whether or not you want to, you can use your finger. And these are very inexpensive, so plus this isn't really the right paper for them, so that means that there's a lot of powdery residue. So what you do once you finish with your piece and you've made it and you're happy, so let's say this was going to be your background, right? So you look at all this. This is why I don't really like soft pastels, for exactly this reason, because this is what happens to you when you use soft pastels. And that's just the way they are. It's not just that these are inexpensive. I mean, that's part of the reason. But even when I went to the art store and I looked at the more expensive brand like this, the same thing happened with my hands right away. So before I even film the rest of this video, I'm actually going to have to go and wash my hands, because this is what happens to you. So anyway, so you can keep going until you're happy with what you've done. So once you're happy with what you've done, what you then is, you need something like this. This is a fast drying workable fixative. I'm actually going to have to return this fixative because I can't use this with my oil pastels. And I don't really have, I only got these for, you know, demonstration or whatever. But if you want your piece to stay and you don't want the powder to move, it's not like colored pencil where once you lay it down, you can't just touch it and move it around. With this, it's just going to stay like that, and you're always going to be able to touch it and move it around. So if you're happy with your work, once you get to the point where you're happy with it, you are absolutely positively going to have to apply some sort of fixative or, you know, or resign yourself to the fact that it's just never going to be exactly the same, and, you know, you're going to have powdery mess everywhere. Some people use things like hairspray and things like that as fixatives. I don't know anything about that. I don't actually have hairspray in the house because I have dreadlocks. And you know, in my case, the cost of hairspray would have been the same as that I paid for that fixative. So I ended up just getting regular fixative since I don't have hairspray in the house. But I guess if you have it in the house, it might be worth it to get that. But the other thing is, you know, the fixative is not gonna yellow or change the color of your art. But, you know, as you can see, you can keep adding color upon color until you're happy with what you get. And you can make really intense opaque colors with this. But anyway, that is how you use pastels and how people use them for art projects, and how people use them, you know, for backgrounds and stuff. So I just wanted to show you that and show you how it's done. And so now I have to go wash my hands. And a lot of people don't mind the mess. There's things that you can do, you know. A lot of people wear latex or rubber gloves when they work with them. Actually, the art store sells these little mini gloves that go just like around your finger. But as you can see, since they get all over it, that's really not going to make a difference for me. But anyway, that's something to keep in mind. So when you're working with these, a lot of them will have instructions not to use them around food. I would take those instructions very seriously and not do so because of this whole powdery thing. I have also low vision, so if you have any kind of vision problem that requires you to be up close, I would suggest that you pass on soft pastels because there's a lot of powdery mess. And if you're too close to it, you're going to be breathing that in, and that's just not good. So anyway, I'm going to take a pause, wash my hands, get out the oil pastel, be right back. All right, I'm back. I have clean hands now. Well, basically clean hands now, and just want to do a quick recap. So if you want to make backgrounds and you want to use pastels for backgrounds, what you do is you get soft pastels and you make your background. I probably use entirely too much pastel here, and then when you've created something that you're happy with, you get a workable fixative, and you spray it usually outside, and you let it dry anywhere from whatever the instructions say, 30 minutes to however long the instructions say. And then it should say, when you get your fixative, it should say workable fixative. So workable means that you can go back and you can continue to work on it. So some people will spray the fixative just on the soft pastel when they're done with the soft pastel, and then they'll go on and they'll do the rest in color pencil or whatever other medium they want to use that. And some people will just color the whole thing and save the background for last, use the soft pastels, and then do this fixative. You could pretty much do it in just about any order that you want to, but you know, like, just use some common sense. Like if you're gonna work on the color pencil area, you might want to protect that side, or you might want to get a workable fixative. Either way, that's something to keep in mind. All right, so that's the soft pastels, and that's what you mainly use for coloring books. Now we're going to go into the section where we take the rules and we say, okay, that's nice, but what happens if we break the rules and do something different? So what does happen if you take some amazing oil pastels and you decide to break the rules? So first, let's talk about what these are. These are, so as I said earlier, these are pigment with a wax and a non-drying oil binder, and the non-drying part is really important, and that's part of what gives it the characteristics. So I showed you, I don't think I did. So this is a page that I did, and I did this just a few days ago when I think I did this like the first day or the second day that I got my set. My set is from a brand called Sennelier, and they're pretty much what's credited for inventing the oil pastel in the West. There was a company in Japan making them before, but this is the company that's credited for making them in the West, and this is a landscape set. And so let me show you one of the really nice things about these is just how fast they work. So they work as fast as the soft pastels that we looked at, maybe a little slower because you have it, you know, wrapped in the thing like that. But the main thing about them is that because they're wrapped like that, they don't make the same kind of mess. So this is a technique that I read about, and I wanted to try it for this, for making braids of grass and for, you know, other things where you do short, even strokes like this. So you do these short strokes and it creates this special effect. So that's what I'm doing here with the short strokes. So this is just your, so that's just your oil pastel. And, you know, that's, you know, and then you take your next layer or whatever. But let's say you wanted to do a sky section. So let's say I wanted to do the sky section. I would just take it the same way, not use a lot. So the same way, you do it, and you see quickly how fast color is adding on here, and you can't tell by looking at it, but I'm barely touching it. I'm trying to touch it as little as possible because there's so much pigment on here. It's so strong, and part of it is just that this is a very high quality brand, and so, you know, I don't want you to confuse the differences in brand versus the differences in product. With oil pastels, they feel a little bit more oily and they're less chalky, and they're not chalky compared to the soft pastels, which are more chalky in feel. I like this oil pastel in part because of the fact that I can use them and my hands are fine. My hands are not gonna get dirty. Is this blue or is this green? Uh-oh. This is why you're supposed to check. Oh, this is more of a green. So I will just use this very faintly. This is a landscape set that I got, and not really, as you can see, I didn't really check my coloring, but you know, but that's the thing. It's that this is a really just so much fun. Like, you lay this down and you can build color and get complexity with the color, just as you would with the soft pastel, but again, without the mess, and with the fact that because it is non-drying, then it just sort of always remains workable. And this particular brand is light fast and all that other stuff, but I wanted to show you, just quickly show you that. And then let's see if I have a black here. Let's see what I have for way of black, because this wasn't a, like, you know, your regular 24 color. Some things are missing, so then you can, you know, do your, see, this is why I'm not an artist. Like, well, I think I did the bird backwards. There you go. See, this is why I'm not an artist, because I can't really, there you go. That's supposed to be your bird. Okay, that's not a very good bird at all, but you get the idea. So that you can then build structure. And then if you've seen some YouTube videos, and this is probably about as messy as your hands are going to get. I mean, so that's one of the things that I like about them. However, now we're going to talk about why you really don't use them for coloring books, is because they're non-drying. And if I take this and I turn this over, and I did this other part just a few days ago, maybe like 3 or 4 days ago, and you can see that there's all this oil and a little bit of pigment in the back from the fact that this doesn't dry, and from the fact that, I mean, it's non-drying, so it's eventually going to accumulate oil, and it's going to break down the paper, and the surface is going to crack, and it's basically not going to be a piece that's going to last long term. So that's why you don't really use these on paper. They have special pastel paper, and use these on other surfaces that can handle that, you know, constant buildup of oil that you're going to get there, and that can, you know, work back and forth with the oil pastels. So that's oil pastels. But as I said, these are really nice, and I'm just going to get some pastel paper, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm probably just going to figure out how to trace the pages from a book, or maybe trace some flowers on there, or trace some leaves, and then just get to it, you know. So I think that that's what I'm going to do, because I really did enjoy like how that feels on your hand, and that sort of thing. So that's your oil pastels, even though, again, that's why you really don't use them, because this has only been really a few short days. This has been less than a week, and you can see the oil buildup on there. Or at least I hope you can see the oil buildup on there. So once it gets, you know, once it gets to be a month, 2 months, I hesitate to see what it's going to look like in the back. And eventually this whole thing is going to fall apart. But this was just an experiment to show you guys you know, I don't like to say don't do something. I just like to tell you what's going to happen. And then, you know, you're a grown ass adult. You can decide for yourself if you want to use oil pastel or your coloring book. And, you know, that's on you. You grown. You can decide for yourself. So that is it. And so I mentioned earlier using a fixative on oil pastels. So you can't really use a regular fixative on an oil pastel, but the company that makes this makes a special fixative for oil pastels to protect the oil pastels. And it's, you know, everything that they make is super expensive. So I didn't want to spend $20 on their fixative. So I got this, but then I tried it on a little bit and it didn't work out well. So, so if I do decide to use a fixative on the oil pastel, I'm probably going to end up having to get their expensive oil pastels, but I'll see. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that and to give you that so you have the knowledge, and then you can decide for yourself like what you want to do. You know, like you might decide like after seeing this that you don't even want to mess with pastels altogether and you want to figure out another way to do quick backgrounds. And there's other things that I'm going to be working on. Christmas is coming up, so I've asked my wife for a set of watercolors from this company, so we'll see what she does. She doesn't watch the channel, so if she does decide to do it, it's not going to ruin a surprise because she doesn't watch my YouTube videos. So we'll see. If I get that, then that would be awesome, and I gotta do a video on that. And I think that's about it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe to my channel, like this video if you like this video. Don't forget to check out the links before. There's a bunch of links at the bottom. There's audible.com. If you want to subscribe to Audible, please consider doing so. By using the link, it does help me. I get a small tiny amount if you get a free trial with Audible. And that helps pay for all the stuff and all the equipment and the time and the mistakes of getting all the wrong things so that I end up making the mistakes so you don't have to. Anyway, so thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time. All right, have a great day. Bye.